And President Donald Trump there commemorating Memorial Day with a ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery in Virginia. He started his day there by laying a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier, an annual tradition for presidents. The tomb represents a burial site of a soldier from World War I whose remains could not be identified. Unknown remains from later wars were added in 1958 and 1984. The president was accompanied, as you saw earlier, by Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, who stood beside him as he placed that wreath. They also spoke ahead of the president, who honored the more than 650,000 U.S. military personnel who have died in battle.
We gather today to honor the incredible service members who rest in glory in this cemetery and burial grounds around the world and in 1,000 lonely places known only to God. In every hour of peril and every moment of crisis, American warriors have left behind the blessings of home and family to answer their nation's call. They've offered all that they had within them and given their last breaths to each and every one of us that we might live safe and breathe free. These warriors, and that's what they are, as great, great warriors, picked up their mantle of duty and service, knowing that to live for others meant always that they might die for others. They knew that. They asked nothing for it. They gave everything, and we owe them everything and much, much more.
All right, let's bring in CBS News White House reporter Willie James Inman. Willie, good to see you today. What else did the president say during that speech that stood out to you?
Hey there, Mugo. Good to be with you on this Memorial Day and to see you as well. The president honoring those families that gave the greatest sacrifice and those families that continue to serve in the United States Armed Forces today at that Memorial Day ceremony that just wrapped up a little bit ago. In fact, we saw the vice president leaving, his motorcade passing by the White House here, some onlookers taking in that site as people gather here to celebrate Memorial Day in the nation's capital. The president also took time to kind of jokingly refer to how he missed out on his second term last time around. Of course, Joe Biden was president for the past 4 years. The president noting that he'll be president during the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. So the president taking some time to joke there, but also to honor the families of the fallen who lay in that cemetery there. I also point out the vice president, who is a former Marine, took time to thank families, especially those Gold Star families, for their service as well. So a lot of thanks and a lot of gratitude coming from the president and the vice president and other officials today as these remarks wrap up celebrating Memorial Day here in Washington, D.C.
And Willie, we know the president also found some time to sound off on social media today about Harvard. What did he have to say?
Yeah, that's right. This has been ongoing through the weekend. This is the story that I've been following closely, and the president essentially saying that he'll take away grant money from Harvard. This is on top of research funding that has been taken away from the university in light of that back and forth between Harvard and the Trump administration. The president saying there that he's considering taking $3 billion in grant money away from the university, accusing it of being anti-Semitic. Of course, this follows news that the Trump administration is banning Harvard essentially from accepting international students. And the president over the weekend saying that he wants the names of those students. He wants to know who those students are, noting that somehow Harvard has like a 30% or so student body made up of international students, and that Americans should be able to enroll in the university instead. We, of course, know that a judge stopped that action for the Trump administration to ban those international students. That happened on Friday. There's a hearing set on Thursday in that case, but still, nonetheless, the president blasting Harvard not only today, but through the weekend as well, Mugo.
Yeah, and Willie, while we have you here, I also want to ask you about this because we know President Trump, he spoke to reporters just yesterday and had this to say about Russian President Vladimir Putin. Let's listen to that, and then Willie will talk to you on the other side of things.
Can you provide us an update on Russia and Ukraine as well?
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
So, Willie, as you just heard there, the president is changing his tune on President Putin here and also about the war in Ukraine. So is this a sign that we could see the U.S. drop out of these negotiations soon? I mean, they've been saying that back and forth every now and then.
Yeah, that's right. And not only the president, but other officials as well, including the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, essentially saying that the United States is not going to wait forever for progress in these talks between Russia and Ukraine. And you saw there the president venting his frustration as he left his New Jersey home yesterday. We were following the president over the weekend, and that was the first time he spoke to reporters who follow him around essentially everywhere he goes, as you know. But the president taking to Truth Social as well, talking about this situation. And he posted earlier that he said he always had a good relationship with Putin of Russia. And he said something has happened to him. It's unclear what the president is essentially saying here, what it can mean, I should say, in the near future. We could potentially see more sanctions. Maybe the U.S. backs away from those conversations, but sanctions is certainly something that the United States could consider. In fact, the president said as much yesterday, but clearly, Mugo, the president frustrated with Vladimir Putin of Russia after this ramped up attack in Ukraine coming from the Russian armed forces there amid that ongoing conflict.
Yeah. CBS News White House reporter Willie James Inman, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate your time.